So hello everyone and welcome back to FTRL for Division 2 for F1, Season 14 Round 6 here, and we are at Abu Dhabi for this evening. As you probably already noticed, we have a bit of a change up in the commentary booth this evening, so Aaron is having a week off as he's just started his new job, so I hope that went very well for him. But as you probably noticed, you get slightly different, so you've got switch back this evening for 1 week only. But we'll hopefully, this is my first time back in F1 commentary since performance about 6 months ago, so bear with me. Might be a bit rusty, but yeah, we'll see how it goes anyway. So, who should we have on board with? We'll start with, why not, we're going with Bread Is Your Daddy for his opening lap. He's just coming around for his out lap at the moment. He's on the medium tyres at the moment, so we might be seeing a couple of different strategies this evening. I knew there was quite a few different strategies yesterday evening as well. Got Matman as well, who's out in the super sauce at the moment as well. He's just about to start his lap shortly. So in terms of the championship, I believe it is FTRL Pagani who is currently at the top of the standings on 71 points, with Goyle Karp 2 points behind. So imagine the legendary Goy Karp possibly winning a championship. Have I said it too early? Hope I've not jinxed them. Possibly have. Knowing me, I usually jinx people. I usually take that off of Michael, in fairness. Michael is the commentary jinx of them all. So Where's Your Daddy is on a lap at the moment. He's just coming around at the moment. Sector 2, so you've got these two long straights to go now. Got this chicane at the end that leads on to the back straight towards the end of Sector 2. Brakes nice and early, gets it turned in very nicely. Keeps it nice and clean. Oh, Rampage seems to have disconnected. Hopefully he can get back in shortly. But Where's Your Daddy comes into the next braking zone. Now this is probably one of the most difficult corners of the track. Misses the apex slightly, but then nicely over the curves. Turns it in nicely for the left-hander, and then you're flat out all the way through here for this long right-hander as AJ pops himself up. The opening time of 36.1. This is a difficult corner, the right-hander, possibly the most difficult corner on the track. And you get this tight and twisty section under the bridge, coming towards the final few corners now. Really fast right-hander towards the end of the lap, and you get this last corner, nice and slow in. Pagani sets a 35.1. Whereas Your Daddy sets a 35.7, so just over half a second behind on the same tyre. Goy pops himself up into P2 on the super soft tyre, so he's 3 tenths off. Zombie pops himself up to provisional pole at the moment, just faster than Pagani, but then that's beaten by Tom as well, so top 3, half a second. Megatron pops himself up to P4. Apparently I'm to go on board with Tom, according to Aaron. Well, why do I have to go on board with Tom? What's hilarious about going on board with Tom other than the usual? Tom used to be very quick in F1, but since the new game I don't think he's played it as much, which is probably why he's in Div 2 at the moment. Poor Tom. Doesn't sweat F1 anywhere near as much as he sweats GT. As can be seen. Who should we go on board? Who's on a lap at the moment? We'll go on board with Blue Flag, why not? FTRL Blue Flag coming around Sector 2 at the moment, so he's coming around to the split for Sector 2. This chicane at the moment, 57.5. Sector 2, Rampage is joined back, thankfully for him. Nice and clean from Blue Flag at the moment. We're a bit wide there, that's not helped his lap time. Captain Chubbs sets a 34.5, which is 6 times quicker than Pagani on the same tyre, which is a very, very impressive lap time. Rampage says he has disconnected, he's been kicked for some reason. Codemasters has done a good job there. Luckily he got back in anyway. Right, so Blue Flag come around the final corner. Had a dodgy last sector, a couple of dodgy moments, which I think is shown in his lap time, 35.6, but there's a lot of time in that. Significant amount of time and that for a blue flag. A couple of moments there. It's a little bit dodgy, so definitely timing that for him. Oh, and just as I say that, he's just had a big tank slapper. See, that is the most possibly area that you see the most people struggling with in terms of people spinning, is that corner at kind of turn 2, that long right-hander. Sometimes the car just bottoms out and you end up spinning towards the wall. I imagine that's probably happened to most people. Mikey's, no, he's not on a lap. Actually thought he was on a lap, but he's 4.2 seconds down, so he's not on a lap at the moment. Captain Chubb's possibly going for another lap. No, he's in the pit, so bit of a lull. Everyone coming in for after the first run. So at the moment, it's Captain Chubb's on a very handy time of a 34.5. I do believe he is possibly the fastest in this division, but apparently it's he has a bit of a knack of bottling positions. But I mean, initially so far here, he's a bit of a way ahead of the rest of the field. So he's initially at the moment he's looking like he's on for a good result, at least in qualifying. We'll see what happens. We'll go on with the Megatron, or otherwise known as the owner of the owner of Rollo, I should say. The legendary cat that is Rollo. He's going very slowly at the moment, so I don't know what's happening with him. Blue flag's just coming on an in lap as well. So in terms of the constructors as well, to keep an eye on, the constructors is currently led by AlphaTauri, which is Pagani and Blue Flag. They know each other very well. Been in the same team for probably the longest of anyone in this grid. We'll get Mercedes as well in P2. I believe that's AJ and Ross, or Megatron, as I should call him, as well, who's in P3. But obviously with the new point system, it's a lot closer this season than previous season in the FTRL. Obviously with the only being a point between each position, it allows everyone to kind of close up, so you've only get a point of a difference between P1 and P2, so it favours more about consistency. Obviously you need the best, really good results, but one bad result of a DNF or maybe a 14 for a 15, that costs you 14-15 points. So it's all about consistency and making sure that your results are all similar. Pagani's on a lap at the moment. We all know Pagani's pace is like he's coming around turn 1 at the moment. Go on board. So he gets on through this right-hander. Flat out all the way through. See how much he's up through the first sector. He's 2 tenths up, and it's only a couple of corners through there. So he's went purple through the first sector. Nice and tidy as he goes towards long straight. Gets it turned in nicely. Get the power arm. Get the DRS. He's going down towards chicane for the next straight. I think one of the most important things with Abu Dhabi though is all about your setup. Do you prioritise straight line speed through these 2 straights, or do you prioritise that last sector and get... Most people usually favour kind of a low downforce, high top speed setup. Well, you might see the odd person that's a bit slow on the straights. He's 7 tenths up through the second sector, purple through the first 2 sectors, get a yellow flag through sector 1, so I think that's Racing Point has went slowly through that right-hander, so I'm not sure if that's Where Is Your Daddy. I think that's the only Racing Point we've got this evening. But Pagani anyway goes through sector 3, gets it turned in nicely. So far looks like a very clean lap from Pagani, and at the moment this looks on for provisional pole, but Captain Chubbs is heading out. Don't know if he's on, we'll double check if he's on the super softs now. After his opening run on the mediums, Pagani comes round the final corner, and if he keeps this clean, which he does, I'm expecting this to be pole position, provisional pole, 34 flat, so it's a very, very good time there from FTRL Pagani. Last night's pole was a 32.8, so you're probably talking about a second, 8 tenths to a second off that usually, so I mean that's not far off at all. But Captain Chubbs is out on the mediums actually again, so it looks like he's definitely going for an alternate strategy unless he goes for his last run on super sauce. But once again he's out on the mediums, so we'll see how he gets on as he locks up slightly, gets away with it though. Doesn't miss his braking point, goes to the next DRS straight. We'll see what sector time is at the end. But he obviously feels like he's got the pace. He's 2.5 tenths up, he's purple through sector 2. So, I mean, this, if he has a good last sector, this might be pole position, provisional pole, on the medium tyres at the moment. So he's on for a cracking lap. He's coming through the last sector. Brakes nicely, lock up on the front right, but once again keeps it under control. A little bit wide, but gets away with it there. Nicely done through there for this really fast right-hander. Once again, a slight lock up on the front right, but he gets away with it and he's invalidated actually there. He's went a little bit too wide, so that's ruined that lap there from Captain Chubbs. Say Porsche saying he thinks that Chubbs will regain pole position. Wouldn't rule that out at all. Is Tom on a lap at the moment? No, he's 3.3 seconds down. We've got Mikey, who we get on with now. Junkie Sport, he's 2.7 down at the moment, so no one seems to be on a very quick lap at the moment. Megatron's out on the medium tyres again for his second lap. Megatron does have the pace, and as he's shown a few times, he's a former Division 2 champion, and he's purple through sector 2, misses the apex slightly, doesn't maybe get the best run that corner, but he is purple through sector 2 as Captain Chubb seems to be going out on the Super Saucer, his last run. But here we go, Megatron coming through the final sector at the moment, last few corners, keeps it nice and clean. Nicely done, using all of the track, just needs to watch, doesn't invalidate on this second to last corner. And he goes across the line for a 35.2, so seems to have lost a little bit of time in the last sector, or possibly the first sector. But 35.2, he's a 10th off Tom, who's also on the medium tyre, but he looks like he's going to come out on the Super Sauce as well for his last run. But Megatron needs to get a bit of a move on here if he wants to go out in the Super Softs. He needs to get back in the pits and get those tyres on, but it looks like maybe go for another lap. He was half a 10th up through sector 1. So it looks like it might be going for a lap. He's already went for 3 laps on these sets of medium tyres, so he's... I can't imagine going for a full lap on these. I imagine he'd probably come out and end and maybe put on a set of Super Sauce. It looks like everyone else is doing Super Sauce. I mean, Matman's still on the mediums and Rampage is on the mediums, but Rampage did lead the session. Brutus seems to be on a lap at the moment, and Brutus actually hasn't set a lap time yet. So, should we have a look what's happening with Brutus? Is he going through sector 2 at the moment? Go on board, see what happens. Locks the front left up, but gets it turned in nicely. On the Super Soft tyres, Brutus as well is one of the fastest guys on outright pace. Was in Division 1 a few seasons back, so he obviously has the pace to be higher up. So we wouldn't rule him out for a possible podium this evening. A little bit wide, but Manji's just about to keep it in the track limits. As he comes round this, looks like it'll be in the top 5. It's in the top 2. He's on the front row of the grid, at least provisionally, but Captain Chubbs is on his out lap, and I think he's possibly the person that we expect to get pole position. He's coming round to final corner at the moment, just about to start his lap. See how he gets on through this lap. I'm expecting this to be pole position, but never know. He needs to keep within the track limits. It can be a bit of a pain towards the last sector. As he come around now, flat out all the way through here. Car on the left might have put him off ever so slightly. There's another car on the right there. He's 2.5 times up though through sector 1, and he's purple already here, Chubbs. So that's a big chunk of time. If he finds similar in the next 2 sectors, that's going to be pole position and the racing point. Just comes down flat out, reaching over 200 miles an hour into the braking zone, about 125. There we go, in between, gets it turned in nicely. Best exit out the corner, nice on traction. Pagani's also on his out lap at the moment. Just keep an eye on all the times here. I don't know, Brutus might be going for another lap possible as well, but Captain Chubbs is 7.5 times up, so If he keeps it tight, misses the apex slightly there. Might handle his lap time slightly, but he's 7.5 times up. Remember, his previous third sector was on the medium tyres, so this looks like it could be in the mid 35s at the moment. Agent Panda retires, he's from 13th at the moment, but he might get put down a little bit from guys behind on fastest laps. He comes through the final few corners, keeps it nice and clean. This looks like it'll be pole position. Nicely done, the right hander. Doesn't invalidate this time, comes round the last corner, flat out, and he comes across line 4 at mid 33, 33.5. Very, very good lap there from Captain Chubbs. Pagani is on his out lap at the moment. He's going slowly, just making sure and get it turned down. Mikey's a 10th up through the first sector at the moment on his last line lap in the Ferrari. He's only 1,000th off of T. Smith. His lap was also on the mediums though, so I'm expecting him to improve, possibly to get round about the top row of the grid. Front row, possibly. Mikey has turned a nice little bit wide, that's hindered his run through the chicane. Not got the best run through there, so that might have hindered his straight line speed through here. He's 1.5 times up, in fairness, so he's on for a good lap as well. Come through the last sector, a little bit slidey. Too much curb maybe. Oh, once again, a little bit slidey on exit. Bit of a moment, but still fairly clean into towards the right hander. Once again, just a little bit on edge at the moment. He's not getting the car turned in as quickly as he probably wants. It just looks like it's a little bit oversteery, and that's invalidated as well. That's definitely too much track. Pagani is span it on his last lap, so that's going to be all over for him. British Your Daddy is not on a lap as well. T. Smith is 8.5 times up though through 2 sectors. If he has a really, really good last sector, as Leco retires from P15, it's not been a good qualifying session from Leco. T. Smith comes round through sector 3. Good last sector, never know. It might be close to Captain Chubbs. It's definitely going to be at least on par with Pagani. Side post going for Chubbs, Pagani and Tom in the race. He says before he drowns us, please don't drown yourself in the bath. And Tom seems to doesn't improve particularly much in the last sector, so he's went P4, only half a tenth off Brutus. Anyone else on a lap at the moment? Zombies 3 times up through 2 sectors. He comes round the final corner, misses the apex massively there. He's going to hand the Megatron. Oh, he's invalidated as well, but Megatron pops himself up into P2 at the end there, so Megatron up into the front row of the grid. Goykart retires from P8. Blue flag settle up to go P6. Junkie Sports in P11, but I think that might be the end of qualifying. I think that's everyone done now, but it looks like Captain Chubbs has got pole position for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Megatron alongside him on the front row of the grid with FTRL, Pagani in P3, Brutus and Tom 4th and 5th, and blue flag alongside Tom. In the third row of the grid, British Your Daddy in P7 with Goy in P8, and it's Mikey and Zombie running out the top 10. So Junkie Sport is the first car that will have free choice of tyres. We'll get Matman, Agent Panda, AG, Lee Cole, Bernard, Max and Rampage at the back of the grid. Aaron's went for City Posh Blue, him and Matt Cos to be the top 3. I mean, probably better what my prediction's going to be. I'll go for a Megatron win, a Pagani P2 and a Captain Chubbs P3. So I'll go for Megatron, Pagani, Captain Chubbs. See if anyone else wants to put in a prediction. I'm sure, I can guarantee you'll be better than me. Anytime I do a prediction, usually the person I predict to be first usually crashes out at turn 1. I'm absolutely dreadful at predictions. What? City Posh Blue needs something you can't disagree with. No, you wouldn't, would you? Definitely not. Don't know why we're still going in qualifying, in fairness, at the moment. Don't know why the lobby hasn't continued, considering everyone has finished a lap. Oh, I think it was someone in the pits at the back end of the field. That was right. So we need to see if anyone outside the top 10 might start on the medium tyres. I think last night there was a lot of them did 2 stops, if I remember last night. So we'll keep an eye, see what the strategies are like, see if anyone fancies going on the hard tyres. At least, I mean, 9 times out of 10 you don't have anything to worry about with rain here. In fairness though, I think quite a few of us have actually seen rain around Abu Dhabi. I do remember a race I was in Div 2 which had rain in Abu Dhabi, which was an odd one. But I can't imagine us having to deal with any rain at Abu Dhabi. Degani says he'll be in a wall. Well, I imagine we might see a few people on the wall at turn 2. That right-hander is notorious for having a lot of retirements. That corner, that barrier on the inside. Just getting on the curb on the outside, the car just bottoms out and you go flying towards the wall. Remember beforehand, the last race I did round here, there was, I think it was blue flag that ended up bottoming out and it ended up being absolute carnage as he came back across the track. I think it was 4 or 5 retirements on lap 1, so it's definitely possible here. Pole means nothing if you can't get through first few corners. Evening Donzo, just a reminder if anyone hasn't liked the stream yet, got a little like, it helps out massively. Rampage is saying he's lost connection. It says he's lost connection to the PlayStation Network. Oh, that's slightly concerning. That might not be the greatest thing to happen. Hopefully he'll be able to race. Just going out for the formation lap at the moment. Why all of a sudden can I not hear the cars? Ah, there we go. Car sounds are back. Always good. So, for formation laps, we'll get Captain Chubbs on pole, as you would expect, all the top 10 starting on the super softs as well. There we go for the strategy down the bottom, protecting the 2-stop strategy as well. So, Mattman in P11, Agent Panda, AG Bernard, Junkie Sport and Max all starting on the medium tyres, but Lee Call and Rampage both starting on the soft tyres. Interestingly, so Mattman, Agent Panda, AG, they might cause a little bit of issue for the front runners depending on how their pace is throughout the race. Might turn into a bit of a bus in front, a bit like onto the podium is in Div 1. Yes, of course I will go on board with Lee once it calms down. Of course I will. Anything for you, City Posh. Rampage has joined back, so hopefully Rampage will be able to start this race. But Captain Chubbs is going to lead off the grid. Megatron in P2. Then we've got FTRL Pagani in P3. Pagani always a threat in the races. We've got Brutus P4, Tom in P5. I think there was a bit of time in Tom's lap in fairness. I think Tom might have been a little bit quicker than what his qualifying suggested. His set to free time was he matched his medium time in fairness, so there definitely looks like there's a bit more time in that lap, Tom, so I wouldn't rule out Tom possibly maybe getting a sneaky podium. But the grid's just about to reform. Hopefully we get a good camera angle for the start of the race from Codemasters, please. There seems to be a bit of a gap. That's usually if you see a bit of a gap on the mini-map in the formation lap, it's usually a leak off. For some strange reason he always seems to back up the pack in the formation lap. I think that's us all set. Everyone lined up on the grid. Max in his beer scold. Give up Max. Starting on the back row, so hopefully can make him move up the grid. For some reason don't appear to be starting. What is going on? Have we got a glitch possibly here? The race does not appear to want to start. Interesting. Yeah, there seems to be some sort of grid issue at the moment. Not entirely sure what is going on, but for some reason the grid seems to not want to start. So we've got onto the grid, but the lights don't want to come on, so we seem to have a bit of a Codemasters glitch at the moment. It might be our lobby restart, but we seem to be giving it a minute. Apparently we're waiting on Rampage and Lee join us. I'm not entirely sure what's going on at the moment. Rampage and Lee are on the grid, but it appears it's just not loading. The grid sequence isn't loading properly at the moment, so bear with us, we'll see what's going on. Hopefully we can get started fairly soon. Oh, well, that's never a good sign.